Good afternoon, Aiden. What's up, buddy?
I'm half awake, but I'm doing all right.
Dude, it's 1:30 in the afternoon.
I usually don't leave the crib till 2, so you know.
Well, we're here to help with that. So, last video you guys saw, we finally got the engine back in the Porsche. It looks incredible. We spent all morning hooking up and replacing more things that you just forget about because cars are never ending, but it's getting there. It's almost ready to be put on the ground, which is great. Cause I want to get off the lift so we can start doing more electrical things.
So I can drive it.
Yes, exactly. So Aiden's gonna be here all week.
I'll look good in this thing, come on.
You guys know Aiden, he's here for the week to help us out, just having fun, and we have a special surprise later in the week for you guys. If you are Patreons, you already know. So, my goal today in this video is to take this Link Fury.
He's gonna drop it.
My favorite, nah, these things are drop, kidding. They would be fine, don't try it. The Link Fury, my favorite ECU. We're gonna put this in the car. I'm gonna finish up the wiring stuff I still need to figure out, and we're gonna hear this thing run. That's the goal for this video, right?
That's the goal. Hopefully that happens.
Big goal, right?
I'm secondhand nervous. I didn't even touch
Yeah,
it.
I'm terrified, but it's great. So not only did we just redo everything in the engine, which I've never touched a Porsche engine before, thank you. I replaced every single sensor on this engine to something more modern, so there really isn't anything much original around the engine anymore. And I made a custom harness, and we're gonna find out if it all works today. Exciting stuff. But before we do that, let's get this thing on the ground, off the lift, so it's easier to get to things. Sound good?
We got the exhaust. What else?
That's about it.
I'm trying to go around town in this thing.
All right, here, you want to click it in?
You did all the hard work. You can kick it in.
Just let go of this. 1, 2. I'm gonna take this. If I did this correctly, it should just pop it. How cool is that? Link Fury, can we see it through the
Where'd it go?
Can we see it through the thing? Oh, you can kind of see it. I think we should paint it like silver or something. It'd be kind of cool.
Just use the gold casing.
The gold casing?
Gold case.
Boom, you want to just give it a test? Just make sure. Jeez, I was gonna lift the car up by it. Jesus, Spoon. It just clicks on a plate.
You told him to test it.
Look at his arms.
Is it a bevel cracker?
Yeah, but it just clicks in.
Do it.
That ain't going nowhere. All right, if you guys remember, we have this beautiful example of an exhaust system. The Japanese finest fabrication here, with our dump tube and everything in here. So we're throwing this back on just to get the car back on the road. We keep mentioning that we want to turbo the car. I don't know how soon we're gonna do it, so we're just gonna make a new exhaust for it probably early next week.
And you never know. Maybe everything goes great and it starts right up and it runs fantastic and we turbo it next week. Who knows?
Okay, we'll see. But for now, it works. It's not gonna rob it of really any power. It just doesn't sound that good. So whatever. Put in a Bosch 4.9 O2 sensor in it, so we have good AFR ratings. God, this thing's ugly. All that refresh work just to put this ugly thing back on, but we'll be good.
I should be a little more careful with that, right?
Yeah. Not the lift. Oh, do all this work just to put this stupid thing back in. It'll be good. Oh man, I grabbed too short of hardware. Rookie ass bitch. Just so excited to get this thing off the list. It's a good feeling seeing it back on the ground after like the car's been apart for a long time. They always look. It was been up on, yeah, it's been 2 months. It's crazy. Bought the car, drove it for a week, put on the lift. Typical. So realistically, the only thing that we need the engine harness to communicate to the chassis for, to get the thing to actually just run, is we need a switch power source that'll tell the ECU and the harness to kick on, right? So when you turn the key on, switches power, turns everything on in the bank, right? Easy. Second, we need a wire that goes to the starter and cranks the starter so the engine can crank over, right? Luckily, that one's already figured out. That I was always attached to the chassis harness. I localized that wire early on and we just ran it through the harness, right? Easy. And the third is we need a wire from the ECU to tell the fuel pump to kick on, or else we don't have fuel and, well, it won't run, right? So right now, the first big one we need is the switch power source. That'll kick the ECU on and let us get into the ECU to check over all our sensors and all the stuff like that. And I think I found it. And this one looks like a pretty prominent switch power source, but you have to be careful, right? Because sometimes with a switch power source, it'll actually shut off when the car is cranking. So you'll turn the key on to like accessory mode, you'll get 12 volt, and you're like, sick. I have a switch, and you go to crank it, and it dies, and you're sitting there like, why is my car run, right? So we gotta make sure that even when it's cranking, it switches 12, which we can't do right now because there's no oil in it. The oil filter shows up in an hour. I'm gonna push my luck and say this one's fine. All right, nothing smoking or exploded yet. Test one. No funny noises. Now, the harness shouldn't be on right now, so I need you to, let's see, right now we have no power, which is good. We don't want a constant power source. So turn the key on, do not crank it. Is the key on? Yes, switch 12. Perfect. So for now, let's use this wire to turn the relay on, which turns the ECU and the entire harness on, just so we can get into the ECU and start checking to make sure all our sensors actually work. Nothing to see here, Austin. Is key on?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So we found the right sources. Our relay should click when the key goes on. Ready? There it is. Cycle the key. Did you hear it click, Austin?
I can hear it.
Perfect. Yep. Perfect. And then if you look, our little LED is on the ECU to tell us that it's on. Perfect. Let's plug into this thing and see what sensors don't work. That broken ass laptop. Perfect. Look at that, boys. We're in the ECU. It's a big start. I mean, this is a big step. So all links come locked. So if you buy a link from us, make sure you email us with your serial number, not your part number, and RJ will get you an unlock code. It's just kind of like their theft prevention thing. So gotta unlock mine real quick. So now is the fun part. We have to define where all our sensors are, what our sensors are. Remember, we made this little cheat sheet for ourselves when we made the harness. Hold on to this, take a picture, email it to yourself, because if you lose this, it's a pain in the ass. So we're gonna define where everything is. We're gonna calibrate all the sensors to the correct calibrations. These are all pretty generic sensors, so these should be really easy to set up. And then we'll start setting up an actual base map. But for now, let's go through and make sure everything's working. Start with something easy like the TPS, right? Find our position sensor, and we have this under analog 2. All right, so let's make sure this is working. Spoon, full throttle for me. Let go. Perfect. Look at the TPS right here. You see it? All right, Spoon, just modulate the throttle. Hell yeah. Our TPS is working. This car didn't come factory with the TPS. We put that in there. That's sick. All right, give me like 20 minutes. Now we get to test our injectors and our coils, make sure everything's firing correctly, right? So the cylinder numbering is really funny on this. It's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing fancy. Usually it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Porsche kept it simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So soon we're gonna test the injectors first. So you just keep your ears peeled, all right?
Yep.
2.
Yep.
3.
Yep.
4.
Yep. Yep.
5.
Yep.
6.
Yep.
Yep.
Look at that, boys. I wired the injectors correctly. Go me. The easiest thing to wire. We have 12 coils now. Coils are harder because you can't really hear them sometimes, especially the smart coils. So we have 12 coils, 2 per cylinder. So you should hear 2 firing on each, okay? Or feel it. I don't know how you're gonna do it. Sometimes you get a screwdriver, put your ear to it. Hopefully you can hear them. Hopefully I wired these correctly because I made the coil pack harnesses off the car. So, coil 1. Yeah?
I saw the panic in your eyes.
Like, usually you hear them a little bit. 2?
I can hear those.
You could hear that?
Yeah.
You're wild.
Yes.
Yes. 3. I hear that. That one's loud. Can you check up top too? Freaking Porsche. Oh, let's put 2 spark plugs in each cylinder. 2 on top. Cool. Yes. All right, we have 3 more chances to fuck up. 4.
Yep.
5.
Yep.
6.
Why is that one so loud?
6?
Yeah.
Because it's not, there's no back to it, the coil. The other ones are fully in the cylinder. The rear one, it's like half out the cylinder. Cool. All right. So now is the tricky part, and we have to make sure our trigger settings are correct, right? We have to make sure crank sensor and our added cam sensor are reading correctly, and then we have to define the correct trigger pattern for each. And that's the last tricky part. And if that all checks out, we should be good. So let's get oil in this thing. Let's go to the store, get that filter. It just showed up. Get some oil in this thing. Crank it and see if the sensors work.
I'm not nervous. You're nervous.
I'm not nervous. It's good.
I'm nervous.
We're nervous. It's not me using the funnel. See, it's Spoon using the funnel.
That's why you got me in here. Who's the one that got the funnel, cut it, and modified it to fit?
I don't recall. I plead the fifth. We still spilled oil in the bay.
Look at that. Jim's getting old.
No.
That's what comes with age.
Now we can crank it. Hope it cranks. It'll crank. Yeah. Why does that sound so funny? It just sounds like an old ass Beetle engine.
It sounds better. It cranks way faster and way better than it did.
Does it?
Or is it just
Can you key on for me?
keys on?
Keys on?
Yeah.
Cool, that's sick. We got oil pressure now. Crank it a couple more seconds. Heck yeah, you're good. Cool. 20 PSI of oil pressure cranking. That's fantastic. And you could hear it sounds happier now. Oil get into it. Okay, so stay in there, Spoon, all right? First, we gotta make sure the cam and crank are reading. So, Link has a built-in oscilloscope, a trigger scope, and this will capture our pulses from a cam sensor and a crank sensor. So, let's give it a shot. Crank it for me. All right. Okay, it looks like we have both. A little sporadic. Crank it longer. Good. Okay, that was happy at that time. You feel how happy it's cranking now? Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Okay. Let's try to figure out these trigger settings now. Fuck yeah. Good. All right, we're good, Spoon. So I had the crank sensor pinned backwards, and it's reading. That's good. It's very good. Let's shoot timing real quick and see if this thing will start. Okay. We're putting the timing light on so we can shoot base timing, so we can sync the timing on the ECU to where it's actually being commanded, right? I always say this. ECU doesn't know if the timing it's shooting is actually where it is, right? So that's why you take a timing light and confirm where the timing is being shot, right? It just knows an offset. Say we'll start at 0. We put the gun on it. It thinks it's at 0, but it's at, let's say, 200 degrees. So we have to get the engine and the ECU in sync. So we have to set it at 0 and make sure it's matched at 0. All right? Good. All right, crank it. Crank it. Crank it again.
I wasn't recording.
You missed that. It just started up in my face. So the timing was kicking itself back, but it shouldn't. I didn't think I couldn't figure out why I was kicking back because it's not supposed to be getting any fueling, so it shouldn't be firing back. But the stock ECU is still plugged in, which means it gets a fuel pump prime. The stock ECU is still plugged in, so it gets a fuel pump prime of 3 seconds before we crank it, so it is getting a little bit of fuel. Watch. Start it real quick. Scared the shit out of it.
Yeah. That scared the shit out of
I
me.
was not ready for it to start. It sounds so good. It's loud as fuck with this thing.
It's about closed.
No, that was open.
That's closed.
No, I opened it.
It doesn't sound that loud.
Back
it
here,
was way louder.
back here in your face it does. Oh my god, I wish you called that. We were all like, what? I forgot the stock ECU still plugged in, so it's operating the fuel pump. Oh, cool, it just started. Sick.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, let me actually shoot timing. I can't believe that's sick. Nice.
You can do it.
Oh, that ain't it. Why are you... Woohoo! Holy shit.
It sounds phenomenal.
The only thing that sucks is that I don't have the wideband wired in right yet because we're still waiting for the connector. So I don't know what the air fuel is right now. So it's not super far off, but I just realized I'm trying to like time the crank pull and I realized there's like 40 markings on here. So I was like looking, I was like, oh, that's not right. We're close though. So the fact that it ran on the harness with everything, with the key and everything, is like huge.
Yeah.
It's funny that the factory ECU is keeping the fuel pump live. It must be keeping it on and not just primed. Shouldn't be doing that, but it's working for now.
You had it.
It's sick.
I know. I believed in you.
Yeah. It might look chaotic on video, but this is actually pretty smooth for his first startup after all.
Sounds great. Let's turbo it.
Hey, look at the actual crank marks on this thing so I could shoot timing and get the thing back together.
Start it up again. Let me hear it.
Just idling, just keep it on. Alright, start her up.
Ready?
Yep.
That's sick.
I looked right into the muffler. All right, so we got a pretty rough oil leak underneath. It's like pissing. It looks like I hope it's just this. The gasket for the timing chain tensioner is literally pissing, which I'm hoping it's that. I hope it's not higher than that and leaking behind it. I tried to tighten it a little bit and it's still leaking. It's brand new gasket, OEM. I'm hoping it's just the fact that since it's powder coated, it might have been too porous and it has a bad seal now. So I could pull that out, RTV it, put it back in. But for now, it runs. It's timed. It sounds good. It sounds a little rich, but it runs. It sounds good, dude. Oh, that's such good news. The engine sounds good too. Like everything sounds good. Then the exhaust is just too loud. That's so good. Okay, cool. now we'll put all this wiring back in. I'm gonna figure out where the fuel pump trigger is so I can actually have this ECU control the fuel pump. I don't know how that other ECU is still keeping that fuel pump on, because it shouldn't be on, but it is. And we gotta reseal that timing chain gasket. Besides that, I don't see any other leaks, which is impressive because it is a Porsche and it should leak regardless. Well, that's not a leak, that's pissing, so. Sick, nice work. Right, good morning, next day. I couldn't leave this video off with the Porsche running rough like that. It was running good, but we had some stuff rigged up. I didn't want that, so this morning me and Spoon went through the whole chassis wiring. We learned a lot about the car. That's probably the best part about taking cars apart to rebuild them like this, is you really start to learn your car, and it's a good feeling, especially when you have to diag stuff, or you just, I don't know, it's a good feeling when you know your whole car, right? We found the stock ECU is under the front seat. It's a little crusty under there. That's just like surface rust for the paint, for the
pan.
It's not the floor pan, it's like what holds all the ECU stuff. So we localized the fuel pump wiring in there and all the stuff that we need from the stock ECU. So now everything operates on the key. And I fixed the oil leak this morning. It hasn't, we're gonna see if that comes back. Should be good to go. So the thing should just start right up.
That's good. That was a good first start.
That's good. right, like right up. That's a good feeling. That's a really good feeling.
It's idling really smooth.
But I still got to clean it up, obviously. It barely has a tune on it. I just threw my number guesses at it, and it's happy. I hate this. Just tell me. Is it good? Is it bad? I hate this. This is so good, dude. Like. Sounds good. Wow, holy shit. Look how nice it looks in there too. It's so tidy, dude. Like, I put the AC compressor in. I just need the belt for it, but it doesn't even look that gross with it in there. Like, it fits nice. Like, the OEM line runs really nice. I had Spoon make a really nice carbon panel for this since we're not running anything there. It's just a good look. We do have to make an intake for it. I keep forgetting it actually needs an intake, right? Right now it's just open like poop, but that's next on the list. The throttle response is so good. I know it sounds bone stock. It sounds so dumb with that thing closed. I don't know if I've ever heard a dramatic cutout like that. Like that literally sounds stock when you close it.
I know it's been 2 months since you've heard it.
Yeah.
But do you think it sounds better?
It feels better.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel good about it. Before it was a mystery. Like I didn't know if the engine was being controlled well. I don't know if the internals were healthy.
An actual exhaust clip of it, I think it sounds good.
It's so much happier now, and like now I know it's properly being controlled. Before I didn't know if there was something messed up about the engine, and I'm just driving through it and causing more issues, you know what I mean? Like that's what's scary about like getting an old car like this. The engines aren't cheap, so now I know everything's fresh, everything's new, all the sensors are reading right. I have access to every bit of data that the ECU sees, so I know everything's happy and healthy, and
Now you know the car.
now I know the car. So when I start it up, I know every wire, nut, and bolt, and everything, which is just the best feeling. So I feel like I've properly earned this car now. Like it feels like mine, you know? Well, it sounds fast. All right. Well, huge victory. I couldn't be happier. But for now, we're gonna leave you with that, so you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.